Hey guys, I'm Chris.
Hey everybody, I'm Robert.
And we're the Film Flamers.
And, per tradition, at the start of the month, Chris and I shoot the flames, and that's what we're here to do.
I thought you were going to say you have your monthly...
We're having our monthlies.
Shark Week, as I like to call it.
What?
I know what you call it behind my back.
Shark Week. Yeah. You do it. So this is when Chris and I get together to talk, as we do throughout the month, as you all well know. But this time we talk about all your comments and questions and listen to your voicemails. We talk about horror news and watch trailers, read reviews. We do all the things.
Yeah.
And shoot the flames.
What do we want to talk about first?
Can we talk about House of Usher?
Oh my God. Yeah, so we got our new, we are, as our oldest listeners know, we are Flana fans.
Complete Flana fans.
Maybe not like Flana fanatics.
I don't know. I'm kind of a fan of Flanatic.
I'm not as much because I don't like everything equally that he's done. And we're talking, of course, about Mike Flanagan. And so his latest and last, as far as I know, on Netflix is The House of Usher. Right, he started that relationship with the House on Haunting Hill or House at Haunted Hill or one of those.
The Haunting of Hill House.
The Haunting of Hill House.
Yep.
And ends with House of Usher. And in between that, he's had Bly Manor and
Midnight Mass.
Midnight Mass.
And Midnight Club.
Midnight Club. And of course, I'm thinking the bookends of his career on Netflix are the best. His first and his last.
I mean, I would say so. I have not finished House of Usher yet. I started it kind of late after its release, and I am 5 episodes in. So there's 3 more for me to go.
Right, and you're going to love them. Of course, Flanagan's done more than just TV or Netflix. He's also done things like Oculus and Dr. Sleep.
That's right.
The latter of which we've done a deep dive on. Mm-hmm. Have we ever done a deep dive on Oculus? I don't think so.
We have not. We also did Hush, which I think is a really good home invasion kind of slasher film.
Never seen it.
It's good.
I've seen maybe like half of the movies he's done, actually.
You've seen like the Ouija movie he's did.
I did see Ouija Origin of Evil.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I really, really like Flanagan's work very much. I mean, like just like any director or writer, I mean, like I don't like it all equally, but I'd never seen a Flanagan film or TV series that I disliked.
Well, I feel like he's like kind of the promise of like American Horror Story, but like he kind of actually did it and succeeded at it in a way that American Horror Story didn't. And similarities being that he's kind of on a single kind of channel with some of these, like Netflix, and then of course he has his own acting troupe that he kind of built up and has brought through, and he's built upon, right? And so now with House of Usher, he has people like Mary McDonnell of Battlestar Galactica and Dances with Wolves fame, etc. And then, of course, Mark Hamill of Star Wars fame, etc., has added to the very big and large and illustrious cast that he normally brings along with him through his movies and other things. And so this one in particular is great. And of course, it's based on the works or his interpretation of the works of Poe.
And I think we feel like we knew early on that he was going to be involving lots of different Poe stories or Poe works in this particular series. And I kind of like how well he's integrated all these different stories into one family, right? I feel like he really took some time to think about Poe's work and how he could like just put it into one series without having these like single standalone episodes, which is how all of Poe's work has been done. And there's even anthology movies that's only Poe, right? But they're like single stories that are being told. Like this one is sort of like woven into each other.
It's totally woven in. So it's more Poe than we've ever gotten before in one place, for sure. And there's even stuff that's kind of tied to some personal stuff in Poe's life and personal beliefs and different things as well. So if you really, really want to annoy your loved ones while you're watching this, then every time Verna speaks, you can say Quoth the Raven.
Would you say Quoth or would you say Quoth?
Quoth the Raven. If you say it fast, it sounds the same.
Quoth.
But you haven't even finished it.
I have not finished it.
So I'm not going to spoil anything, but we can't recommend it enough.
Yes, I am super looking forward to finishing the series. This is one of those watches where like you really, really want to continue watching it, but it's already like 11:30 and you need to go to work the next day.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And like I'm not much of a binger when it comes to series, but I feel like sometimes with Flanagan stuff, I sort of watch it much quicker than I do other things, like series wise. Like I binged all of Midnight Mass in pretty much a day.
Oh,
right.
Yeah. It's easy to do with this stuff. And that's kind of a tradition for me, is to watch it in 1 or 2 sittings.
So, and this was really, really good. Like I'm glad that, and this took a while to come out. I feel like we've been talking about this on Shooting the Flames for a while, and I'm really excited to finish it.
Did they stagger it, or is Netflix, when you said it takes a while to come out, did they release all of it together? I think they did.
No, they did, but I mean, like, I feel like this has been finished for a while.
They're like the last streaming service that still does that, I think, and even then, Netflix sometimes doesn't do it.
This one should have come out last year, so its release date is kind of pushed back a little bit.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I feel like that may have been a little of Netflix holding on to some Flanagan stuff. You know, after
maybe
the contract ended, or he announced that he was moving to Prime.
Well, because he was working on Midnight Mass when COVID hit, right? And so had to work through that. And so Usher was his first post-COVID project, as far as I know. And then, you know, besides Midnight Mass, not Midnight Mass, but Midnight Club.
Right.
Meanwhile, his contract has ended with Netflix, and Amazon has won him over, where presumably he will be doing the Dark Tower series, but no one knows for sure.
Yeah. He has a lot of things on his docket.
He does.
Like he's announced like fucking Season of Passage, and
as far as like
that he wants to do it, or that he's maybe optioned the rights or something like that.
But we'll see.
We shall see. But guys, we cannot stress this enough. Like it's been a while since we've done a Flamers Favorites episode, or even talked about that segment on Shooting the Flames. But this is definitely something that we would put in that area. And I'm fairly certain that when we get to our year-end horror episode, like we will be talking about House of Usher again.
For sure. And it's a little, for me, it's like a little monologue heavy. It's a little Dolby Shock heavy, but it's still very, very good. And because it's in Letterboxd, because it's a mini-series instead of a series, I am going to be including it on my top 10.
And I had already planned to do that as well. So look forward to that, you guys.
We have a new review.
Do we?
Not really, but I mean, it's on YouTube.
Okay. What is it?
So Kitty Kelly left us a comment on the Top 13 X-Files episode over on YouTube, and took that as an opportunity to give us a review, I guess, and said, quoth the Raven, Film Flamers is one of 2 podcasts that I actually listen to, and the only one that reviews films. Being the only horror lover in my family, I really appreciate Robert and Chris's hilarious takes on every film they watch. Not only are your reviews spot on, but your quotes on quotes is pee my pants funny. Ooh. I will forever hear, quote, they're all going to laugh at you. Fuck me gently with the chainsaw. And my favorite from The Exorcist, yeah. Don't ever become too famous that you end this podcast. And by proxy, the best thing on the internet. By the way, any thoughts about deep diving my favorite French horror film, High Tension?
Do I have thoughts about that? Kitty Kelly, first of all, thank you.
No, he doesn't.
For all those kind words. I feel like we have no intention of becoming so famous that we end this podcast. I feel like the more famous we get, the bigger our podcast will grow. So High Tension is my second favorite French horror film. So yes, I feel like we've been threatening to do High Tension for quite some time.
And your number 1 being Knife Plus Heart?
Yes, Knife Plus Heart. So good.
Tough to beat.
It is. High Tension's great.
I've never seen it.
I know. That's why I'm waiting for us. Well, we should probably watch it before we deep dive it. But.
I really want to see it. It came out kind of in the mid to early aughts, right? Like it's kind of around the time Hostel came out.
It's like 2006-ish, yeah.
Okay.
So it's very, very violent. It's very, I mean, like all French extremity is, right? But it's also really queer. And I don't know. I just like it. So yes, we have some thoughts about deep diving into your favorite French horror film, High Tension.
Sweet.
Stay tuned, Kitty Kelly. We have some more comments on our Top 13 X-Files episodes, though. Nikki over on Patreon said, y'all got this one so right. And I'm always geeked to get a shout out. I watched all the X-Files episodes in real time. And then again, when I was on maternity leave, I might do it again now. And I was cracking up at the "In a World" voice on the episode teasers. I forgot about those. Thanks so much, gents.
Yeah, I was lucky to find those. I thought maybe just maybe someone's like, posted the trailers for the original trailers on TV for these. And I think they were just the recordings. It was great. Just the audio. I mean, that could be used because back then you had the clips that they would put out for radio and TV. And so they had to work for both. And it was just fucking perfect.
I loved it. That was one of my favorite things about listening to that episode, were all those trailers. So, and thank you, Nikki, for that comment. And I know that you had some suggestions when we were talking about doing this, and we're always thankful for your input.
Hear, hear. Livy over on Patreon said, honorable mention season 3, episode 3, DPO. Picture of very young Giovanni Ribisi and Jack Black being spooky to "Hey Man, Nice Shot" by Filter. Delightfully 90s. In fact, I think that episode opens with "Hey Man, Nice Shot." That's the first time I'd ever heard that song. And then this is about Giovanni Ribisi having an ability to essentially generate electricity and kill people. And Jack Black is his best friend who he kind of abuses over the time. And so it's a really, really interesting early episode. And so I guess it's not that early. It's season 3. But of course, as we mentioned, I think it was season 3 or season 4 that was like rated as like one of the best seasons of TV ever of all time. Anyway, I almost put that on our top 13 list. So if you go through these, you're going to remember that one because it is a memorable one.
And I remember you showing me the still image of this, the little screen cap, right?
Jack Black is so young.
Because he looks super young. You're like, look at Jack Black. And I was just like, the fuck? So that's why I say, "Hey Man, Nice Shot."
Mm-hmm.
What a good shot, man. Yeah, and I am going to go back and watch these. Like, I was so intrigued watching the ones that you had picked out that I want to watch this show. So you've done it. BattleBurrito over on Patreon said, like Robert, this show was a miss for me at first. I don't think I realized how much fun the show was having, and I still think the show is strongest during its Monster of the Week episodes, although it's hard to overstate how much Queen Anderson carries the show.
Hear, hear.
God damn it.
Best drinking game ever.
Love it.
From our deep dive into the 13th Warrior, BattleBurrito said, I watched this around 9 to 10 years old, and I remember it being so scary. I think the story would have worked better as a 10-episode miniseries. I also think so.
I feel like they could have stretched it out.
Or even 6 to 8 miniseries, episode, Mm-hmm. I think that'd be great.
10 may be a little much, but like much longer than the movie that it was.
Right. I'm thinking like The Terror, right? Which was like 8 episodes or something.
Sure, yeah. I mean, like it needed more room to breathe and to grow.
For sure.
Patrick Swilinski art over on Instagram said, underrated flick for sure. 100% horror adjacent.
Thank you for that validation.
Yeah. I mean, because we were making that argument in that episode. And I feel like they could have leaned into the horror a little bit more, and they may have, in other cuts or whatever, but like, it's truly a horror adjacent movie for sure.
Yeah. And is it horror adjacent, or is it just another excuse for me to edit Jerry Goldsmith soundtracks into my podcast episodes?
I mean, you do like to do that. It's your hobby.
I noticed that after the fact though. Like I was like, we're really covering an inordinate amount of Jerry Goldsmith movies, regardless of their genre.
You just like subconsciously pick these things. Let's put this on the docket. I'm like, that's a drama film.
If we ever cover Congo, you're going to know.
We're covering Congo.
Scraping the bottom of the barrel there.
Hold on. We're covering Congo.
We've got to, really.
I love Congo.
Amy Goldsmith, animatronics, Tim Curry.
My God.
Tim Curry says Zinj 5,000 times during the movie.
What's not to love?
Right.
So many first watches for
Evil
me.
albino gorillas. It's perfect.
I love that movie. I saw that theater twice. So many first watches for me in the month of October. Like, I had never seen any of those X-Files episodes. I'd never seen 13th Warrior. Like, a lot of firsts going on. What I did see, however, or had seen before, was 313 and Ghosts. And we got some comments on that deep dive. BattleBurrito over on Patreon said, I just get this feeling that a huge amount of movies in the aughts were trying to be edgy, but ended up really dumb.
Well, you have that right.
That is correct. That's what the aughts were all about.
Mm-hmm. Coleman Lestat sent us an email and said, Gentlemen, there is nothing so lifeless as the chewed grizzle of semi-urban humanity. This misery has a name. Kettering, Ohio. In a strange moment of serendipity, 13 Ghosts is on the television in this quote-unquote hotel. I will watch it and think of your episode. It is, by a considerable margin, better than watching this carnival of disappointment transit the parking lot betwixt the Red Lobster and what I can only assume is a Hooters. The H is burnt out.
Hooters?
From the 6th floor, it closely resembles what I imagine a Walmart must look like from God's point of view. Rascals, Hovrowns, Walkers, and the stuff of an ever-increasing rate of divorce. Keep up the fine work. Sweet dreams, L.
Call me Lestat. I live for your emails. Oh my God. Who are you? Even. I love the word betwixt. I use it often, far more than most people should.
From our Shooting the Flames back in October last month, Nikki over on Instagram said, Robert saying so much made me think of the flames on the side of my face. Breathing, breathless, heaving. When did you say so much?
We were talking about something, and I was just like, so much.
Yes.
And this very
so yes, Nikki, that was intentional. We're constantly doing that. Yeah. Flames on the side of my face. Yeah.
Breathing,
heaving
breaths.
Watch Clue if you haven't.
Please. There's like a 4K thing coming out for Clue too. Like I'm super excited about.
There's like memes that are coming out about the stuff that I watched live and I didn't understand at the point because I was just watching the show. Like there's like this thing all over TikTok right now with one of our favorite actresses from American Horror Story. What's her name? Jessica Lange. And of course she's in her, it's at the end of the witch one, right?
Yeah.
And she's like she's like, it smells like cat piss and fish, right? Which I got at the time, but then what I didn't understand, she's looking at the wallpaper, like the walls, because it's like a cabin or whatever, and she's like, what is this? Naughty pine? And so people have turned that into like a meme, and I'm like, why wasn't I laughing at that when I was watching it?
I mean, for real. Also all over TikTok a couple years ago, maybe, was one of her quotes from Murder House, where she's like, it's what the gays do. Butt stuff and celebrate Halloween or something like that. I mean, like she's like meme queen on that show.
For real. She should graduate and go to the Flanafan.
Oh my God, Mike Flanagan, please cast.
Could you imagine like Jessica Lange and Mary McDonnell doing like Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, the sequel or something? Like,
yes.
Give me a break.
I certainly can. From our deep dive into Dream Master, Nikki over on Patreon said, I adore The Long Kiss Goodnight. Hard same. Great reference. Thanks for the reminder. I know I've seen this movie, but I only remember the kills. I don't recall any of the plot because there's not any.
Well, we both love The Long Kiss Goodnight. Did we ever deep dive that? That's kind of adjacent-ish. Very, very adjacent-ish. It's a Christmas movie.
It is a Christmas movie. I will give you that.
There's dead people.
There is dead people, but dead people does not a horror movie make. But we can deep dive it in because it's good.
All right, well. From our deep dive into Dream Warriors, Sarah Gregg 75 on Insta said, it is nigh on impossible to watch the film without hearing Robert singing Dream Warriors.
We're the Dream Warriors. Don't want to dream no more.
Yeah,
oh my God.
Yeah. Okay.
The fucking harmony we just did right there is like recording level amazing.
Well, we are recording, so.
Oh my God, where's that Grammy?
We capture that magic. From our deep dive into Predator, Kimberly over on Patreon said, fun fact, the pervy kid from Kindergarten Cop also played Gage in 1988's Pet Sematary. Between Achilles tendons and sex organs, the kid got quite an anatomy lesson at a young age.
What is a good fun fact? Boys have a penis, girls have a vagina.
Mm-hmm.
That boy?
I'm guessing, yeah.
He's a cute kid.
Mm-hmm.
Call Me Lestat said over on Patreon, I was shown Predator when I was, I think, 9, perhaps my favorite film ever, except, of course, Interview with the Vampire. For the longest time, when I was a child, I would panic at night knowing the Predator was going to get me, and I covered myself in every blanket and sheet I could find in the room and even in the linen closet. Preteen me was entirely certain that enough fabric would block my heat signature from the encroaching EBE, X-Files extraterrestrial biological entity. Obviously, I can't say with authority that this worked. Yet I remained unpredatored. So much like our paint here. What? Why roll the dice when you don't have to? Paint? I'll tell you about any time you'd like. What makes Predator is show don't tell, a trait of McTiernan films, while anchored on nostalgia. Virtually every poorly delivered throwaway line, Afghanistan, ? I'm trying to forget it, etc., speaks to large universe anchored in the oversaturated reality of 80s lore. Dutch. Why you pass on Berlin? General V are not assassins, and V don't do that kind of work. I don't know why I made him sound like that. Question to ponder, now that it's spooky season, what is the difference, if there is one, between a graveyard and a cemetery? Get it without cheating, and my next message will be in the time-honored tradition of your braver guests, a voicemail. Oh my goodness. Okay, yeah, we would like a voicemail, please.
Is that a threat or a promise?
Oh.
Yeah, also, what is the difference between a graveyard and a cemetery?
I don't know.
I would assume a cemetery is
attached to a church.
Mayhaps.
And a graveyard is not.
Mayhaps. I was going to say a graveyard is maybe is more casual, right? May or may not be marked versus like a cemetery is like actually like, documented.
I mean, we're not cheating right now, Lestat, obviously. Because we're just like shooting things out there.
But you say church graveyard, but you also say church. I don't know. I've seen cemeteries. Now I've seen like Medlin Cemetery doesn't have a church next to it. I've seen cemeteries without churches. Maybe it's the opposite. Maybe churches have graveyards.
Maybe graveyards are just a yard and a cemetery is a lawn. Tell us in voicemail form, Lestat.
From our hot take from Overlook Film Festival 23, Nikki over on Spotify said, watched Talk to Me and really liked it. Thanks for the recommendation. We also watched The Boogeyman, which was another good one. Gotta find another good watch tonight. Friday the 13th.
Why don't you watch Friday the 13th?
Why don't you watch some of the movies that we covered for the 13th?
Yeah.
She probably already did. It's Nikki.
She's probably already seen them. I mean, like, come on. I'm glad you liked Talk to Me. Like, I'm still singing its praises. And I find myself wanting to move it higher up on my top 10 list for the year so far. I saw The Boogeyman in the theater when it came out in June, and I thought it was okay.
Yeah, I haven't seen it because of your middling review of it.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible. It was way better than I expected it to be. I had very low expectations for that movie.
Okay.
So keep those expectations low, and you might enjoy it as well.
Okay.
From our top 10 Halloween movies, my goodness, that's a blast from the past. GlazedDonut over on Patreon said, okay, I know this is an old episode, but I need to know, has Robert watched The Crow yet? I heard that and went, Scusi? The Crow was the catalyst for so many emotionally tormented high school boys in my day. And for me, between Brandon Lee and Michael Wincott, I swear I caught the vapors.
The vapors.
The vapors.
Yes, I had educated him very soon after that episode, I guess.
Yeah, it was really quickly after that.
Yeah, and you liked it.
I did. I thought it was good.
Yeah.
You know?
I think it's one of those that's like more important than it is good, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, for the death of Brandon Lee, for sure.
But it's also a very visually arresting film.
It is.
Interesting.
I liked it.
Unique.
I liked it glazed on it. I thought it was good.
Yeah.
I did not catch any vapors, but I can see, for my day as well, all the tormented boys in school were very Crow-like.
I think everyone should revisit our top 10 Halloween movies list.
We used to post it every year.
When we don't do 3 episodes or more or whatever, on October, sometimes we do, but this month happened to be pretty heavy, right? Because we wanted to take advantage of the Friday the 13th and do all of our 13 content without doing Friday the 13th. But Yeah, I think I just want to rewatch some of those on there, like The Guest, you know?
Oh my God. Yeah.
Was The Guest even on there, or was it an honorable mention?
I don't know. I haven't. So I've gone back to re-listen to a lot of episodes, but I don't think I've re-listened to that one. I might do that in honor of the upcoming holiday.
Yeah. Although this is Shooting the Flames for November.
That's true, but everyone knows that we record this early,
That's
right?
true. Yeah.
Okay.
From our episode into Trick or Treat, GlazedDonut over on Patreon said, another first watch for me, even though I have owned this movie for years and apparently have simply forgotten to actually watch it. It was definitely a fun, light watch and perfect for watching when carving pumpkins and drinking, or just, while drinking. Werewolves are my least favorite and watched horror genre, but Same. I would love to see more movies like this involving women being werewolves. Ginger Snaps is the only other film that I can think of that allowed for young women to be this type of hairy, ugly predator. Filmmakers usually preserve that image for the older hags in their 40s and older. I say more quality. Also, I love the fact that every Brian Cox acting project and interview displays him as a completely self-aware curmudgeon. I fully respect that side of him. You know what else he's good in?
What?
The Long Kiss Goodnight.
I feel like Brian Cox is a completely self-aware curmudgeon. So I'm glad that you watched this movie finally, GlazedDonut. I feel like we love Trick or Treat.
It was our number one, I think.
On the Halloween top 10.
Yeah, because it's just so Halloween.
And this was a movie that I just randomly watched on a whim. I think Chris also randomly watched on a whim. And we both ended up just loving it, like before we even met each other.
Yeah.
So like this is one of the early movies when Chris and I became friends that we were like randomly said to the other. I can't remember which one of us said it first. Like, have you seen Trick or Treat? And the other one was like, fuck yeah. So like clearly
Hannah Paquin.
The first season of our podcast, if you're going to divide it into seasons, years, we had to cover this movie. So I'm glad you watched it.
Right.
Werewolf movies suck for the most part. We've said that many times on the podcast.
Wasn't there one recently that we liked though?
I really liked like Werewolves Within or something like that. The comedy one.
Yes.
Right? That was really funny.
For real.
And kind of unexpected.
Yeah.
So.
But it's not centered on the,
the townsfolk.
The townsfolk versus.
Trying to figure out who the werewolf is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good one. Check that one out. You might like that, GlazedDonut. From our deep dive into Suspiria, Jesus, GlazedDonut, all the blasts from the past. GlazedDonut over on Patreon said, first time watch for me, and I like it more than I thought I would. The use and intensity of colors and the score didn't necessarily make the film scary, but did give it a creepy otherworld feeling. I love movies about witches, but I do think Dario Argento could have shown more witches being witches. It would have made the stakes higher for Susie, in my opinion. Also, if you are giving me a Disney-like bat attack in a witches movie, it better have a Bette Midler singing performance attached to it. That being said, I can appreciate the movie, and it's definitely going on my must-watch again list. I'm eager to check out the newest Suspiria soon, as I figure it will have more witch action in it.
And it does, but not in the way you probably want.
Yeah. It's good. Like, watch it for sure. Watch it as a comparison. I really like my friend Alex watched Suspiria for the first time and then watched the remake, like a year or so ago. And I think it's really good to compare and contrast those two movies. Right. And we have a hot take on the new Suspiria you can listen to as well.
Yeah. I just feel like they're about two different things,
They're two very different films.
One's more of a straightforward horror film and the other is like socio-political background.
That's shit. Right. And that's the first time that Dario Argento did anything socio-political. I'm making a joke.
Opposite.
I was joking.
Okay. That really threw me for a loop. I was like, no.
Wrong.
How did I fuck that up? I'm not communicating.
GlazedDonut, keep going through the older episodes. Send us send us your thoughts on them. And if there's more first watches, I definitely want to hear about that.
Yeah, because these movies they're all timeless, and so our deep dives we still stand by all of those.
That's right. I feel like Suspiria is one of our best episodes.
It's our second deep dive ever.
I know. I mean, I loved that episode. I can remember recording it, right? Like, it was good. I had such a fun time with that one.
We got a question and comment, or maybe a comment and question. I'm not sure. Yes, from Bear Brown.
Okay.
Yeah. So he said, when I heard you were going to discuss the Ring films and Ringu, my cinematography senses kicked in. One of the biggest differences between Ringu and The Ring is the cinematography. Ringu followed more of the novel's treatment of the curse, or Sadaku, not Samara, as a visual element in the framing of the characters. As Sadaku's curse gets stronger, the camera angle gets higher. The cinematography of Bohan Bazeli was amazing and beautiful, but to me, the composition of Ringu was more demonstrative. For example, in Ringu, the main character is introduced in low-angle shots until she enters her cousin's room or watches the tape. Sadaku's curse is strong at these times. The main character in both versions are hard to root for. In the Japanese or the Korean versions, one of the things that I found is the Japanese version, she was doing things that to American audiences wouldn't really get. In the American version, she relies more on the babysitter than have an actual relationship with her son. In the Japanese version, her kid was left alone most of the time while she worked. She would let the kid be home from school by himself, like a latchkey kid, but often he'd be locked out. Standing outside their apartment is where his father found him in Ringu. So I think making the main character somebody that you don't like, but yet at the same time sort of sympathize with, because they're trying to save someone they love, that's a key factor. I mean, yeah, I don't agree with about the cinematography. I think that's interesting, but I don't think it was maybe demonstrative, but I don't think it was consistent enough to really catch on even subconsciously for me. Maybe if I was studying the film from a film, study perspective or something like that, maybe I would have more appreciation from it from just like a movie goer, a popcorn eater, watching this movie. I still prefer the gorgeous cinematography of the remake.
I completely agree with you.
If we're just talking cinematography.
Yeah, if we're just talking about cinematography, I feel like the American remake is better, right? But I mean, because I didn't notice any of that while watching Ringo, and I've seen Ringo a couple of times, It makes me kind of interested to kind of watch it again, and I didn't think that I'd be saying that after watching Ringo this last time.
That said, I'd really love when the camera can become a character and really start telling the story, but I don't know that it was that significant. Mm. But I do like that detail, and I didn't know that. So thank you very much, Bear.
Very much.
That's going to germinate inside my mind, and I'm going to nerd out from now on.
Nerding out is good. Just don't get any on me. Oh. Lastly, he said, just wondering if y'all have mentioned Scare Package or Scare Package 2.
Now, that's a you question, I think, because I have not seen Scare Package.
I've seen the first Scare Package. I have not seen the sequel yet, and I liked it. I know that I think we probably mentioned Scare Package on one of our end-of-year horror episodes, at least, or maybe back when we were doing some Flamers Favorites stuff, which we probably should do sometime soon. It's been a minute since we've taken the time to talk about some of our watches, horror or non.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've definitely mentioned Scare Package 1, at least one or a couple times on the podcast. And I need to check out Scare Package 2 because I really like anthology horror.
We got some voicemails.
Really? From whom?
Well, we've got one. Well, actually, we've got two from Kimberly.
Okay.
Hey guys, it's Kimberly. Okay, number one, I apologize for the voicemail where I was talking about Julian Sands. That sounded convicting. I didn't mean it to be. I was trying to be funny, but when I went back and heard it on Shooting the Flames, I audibly cringed. So, yeah, anyway. Number two, Robert, welcome to middle age. Are you a Virgo? I'm a Virgo. I was the third. I had the pleasure of going through the change now that I'm in my late 40s. So I am hot, sweaty, smelly, hairy, and it blows. So I better come back as a man in my next life because this is fucking bullshit. Is what it is. I had a number 3, but I don't remember what it is. And I still don't have a job, but whatever. Oh, I remember what it is. The only reason I remembered your birthday, Robert, is because of Facebook. So, sir, if you, Chris, if you want a little birthday shout out, you're going to have to remind me because I will forget because I have ADD and menopause brain. They need to do a whole movie about menopause. Okay, bye.
And following up with this one.
One last thing, Robert, Kimberly. I appreciate the job offer or the, whatever that was. But I am too old, decrepit, and too hot flashy to work in food service. And also, although I love you guys to the moon and back, I hate Texas just as much. I hate Texas to the depths of my soul. and you would have to drag me kicking and screaming in order to live there. Okay, bye.
Well, how very dare you? Texas is a huge place. We're bigger than most European countries, for the love of God. Also, I'm taking umbrage here because you're going to be a man in your next life. Well, guess what? In your next life, you're going to be smelly, stinky, hairy, and all that stuff your entire life instead of waiting until your late 40s.
I mean, I am especially hot and sweaty and hairy, but
we just take it for granted.
Also, I also hate Texas a lot of the time, you know, for making me hotter and sweatier, usually.
And possibly hairier.
And possibly hairier. Certainly for the politics involved in this state. So I totally get it. The offer stands, though. I mean, if you want to try food service, it's in a hospital. I mean, so there's medical something or other, right? I know you do some research. I am not a Virgo. I'm a Libra. So
thank God.
I mean, I don't know what any of that means, really. I'm the scales. But, you know, I don't know. Menopause sounds terrible. Like, anything that women have to go through their entire lives sounds terrible. And, like, I fully wish I didn't have to do any of that.
You're just basically becoming you're transitioning.
I mean, you have to spend your entire lives having Shark Week. Although, Kimberly, I hope that the job search gets better. And I hope that menopause is a very short experience for you, hopefully. And there's not a horror movie about menopause, but there is a musical, and it's called Menopause the Musical.
It's called Mommy Dearest.
Bring the axe. Keep the voicemails coming and let us know how you are doing, ma'am.
Speaking of voicemails, we've got one from Bennett.
Hey, Tired Queens. It's Bennett calling. It's been a while since I called in, so I thought I'd change that here. I meant to call a couple weeks ago when there was a lot of stuff for The Exorcist coming out. I was on vacation and went back to my hometown and saw it was the 50th anniversary screening that was, you know, I think playing around the country from Fathom Events there, and I think it was the extended version, which is not my favorite, but anyway, I still enjoyed it there, and a couple days later ended up seeing the new Exorcist movie, which I'm curious to get your guys' thoughts on that if you ever get around to it, because it's okay. Anyway, I meant to do that a couple weeks ago there, and I'll end it with doing my rendition of what I think has become our favorite little piece of music from the franchise there, the one that goes like this. Yeah, 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 whoosh. Yeah, 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 whoosh. It's a fun one. Bye.
Bennett.
So it's not necessary.
It's been a while. It's good to hear from you. And that was a very good rendition of Yeah, Yeah, Yeah. Neither Chris or myself have seen the new Exorcist movie. What's it called? Believer?
Believer.
Believer? You better believe it. We have not seen it yet. And as it was being released...
The Exorcist, the Eras tour.
I have seen that. That's right. Make no mistake, listeners. There are so many horror movies happening in the theater. And I drug my best friend and podcast host to see Taylor Swift, the Eras tour.
You did. You really did.
We could do a deep dive on that. But that's a different podcast. Anyway, so we will be seeing this movie before the end of the year. But as the reviews were coming out for this movie and the trailer and whatnot, I was just like, oh, I don't really want to watch it.
Yeah, I just keep hearing I didn't really want to watch it before. I'm not a big fan of the guy that made it. And, you know, it didn't look particularly new for me. And hearing some spoilers as well as like what people are saying and seeing your review rating on Letterboxd, sir. Oof. I'm not looking forward to it, but I know I have to do it for our top 10 because it's a biggie and I am not going to be able to walk away from it.
Okay, let's watch this together. Like when it's available on VOD.
Yeah, so at least we can like Mystery Science Theater the shit out of it.
Please, let's like gummy ourselves into oblivion. We're going to sit down and watch Exorcist Belieber. And then once we're sufficiently gummy to like erase that movie from our minds, I will turn on selections from Taylor Swift, the Eras Tour to just like bring us back to a good place. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, I make no mistake, you guys. Like, I was singing out loud watching that. I was trying to be quiet. Could you hear me?
No, not at all.
Good. I was singing quietly enough. But
Well, maybe a little bit, but I expected it.
Well, actually, toward the end of it, like I had a Taylor Swift themed drink, right? And then I switched to beer, and then I had like a cocktail and like 3 beers. So by the time that 3rd beer was drank, I felt a little bit better, like screaming things out. But I was still trying to be respectful.
There was like the little girls that were like 3 rows in front of us where they were like putting on their flashlights on their phones and like.
Yeah, but they were having their best life though.
They were, and I think by the end we counted that I knew 5 songs out of 40.
That's right. 5 out of 40 Taylor Swift songs. I was very impressed, actually.
You.
And as it turns out, I knew the lyrics to every single one of those 40 songs.
Holy shit.
So I don't know if I should be proud of myself or not. Anyway, we don't have any new patrons.
We don't, but we do have an opportunity to shout out the patrons at the Film Flamer tier or higher.
That's right. At the Film Inferno, which is our top tier, we have
Call Me Lestat,
Kimberly,
Penelope.
And at the Film Flamer tier, we have
Anthony,
Ashlie,
Ben,
Big Dave,
Glazed Donut,
Jessica,
Lisa,
Nikki,
Rosie Red Leader,
and William.
But especially
Kimberly.
Yeah, Kimberly. I can see Nikki, Call Me Lestat for sure, and Glazed Donut for going back in time and sharing some of their thoughts on some of our older episodes.
So all of you guys went above and beyond this month, and we appreciate you guys giving us all this content to talk about on Shooting the Flames. And if you would like your name mentioned, head over to patreon.com/thefilmflamers, join the family, vote in the polls, get all of our bonus episodes, and we will say your name on the next Shooting the Flames.
Horror News.
Chris, if you were teaching school, perhaps elementary school, what movie would you not show children?
Probably Exorcist Believer or Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
Well, some teacher did that.
Which one?
Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
Oh.
So she has shown that movie in school to a bunch of children who went home traumatized and told their families. But that's not the only piece of news about Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. A sequel has been announced with a promised kill list of over 30 kills in one film.
Well, I'm glad to see those students actually learn something in school.
That's right. About
but what I'm hearing is virtually impossible.
They learned something. The sequel apparently will also introduce the characters of Christopher Robin, Tigger, and Owl.
Oh.
Maybe Eeyore too? I can't remember.
Tigger wasn't in the first one?
No, it was just Piglet and Pooh.
Okay.
Although I haven't seen this movie yet.
I don't really care.
Yeah. It got insanely popular. Popular enough to show children, apparently.
Okay, well.
So
I'm thinking that must be something like her just thinking Winnie the Pooh, but like what grade was this? It was like 4th or 5th grade or
yeah,
something.
it was like elementary school level children.
Right? But it would be like too old to see something like from Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh is for like elementary or like earlier than elementary, like preschool, right?
Right. Yeah, I would think so.
So it was like literally the teacher really fucked up. Like,
I mean, that's it. They're all, I mean, even if that person like just mistakenly put it on or whatever, like how do you misread the word blood when you're looking at a Winnie the Pooh movie?
I keep thinking of these things where it's like she went to the local Blockbuster that might still exist and like someone put the wrong VHS in the wrong box, on purpose or something, but no such place exists and you really literally would have to stream something. I don't know.
Maybe she just really wanted to not be a teacher anymore, but she didn't want to quit.
From what I hear, everyone doesn't want to be a teacher anymore.
Yeah, mostly. But that was an amazing piece of news. Let's move on.
Ridley Scott has apparently seen Fede Alvarez's new Alien movie and calls it fucking great. That could be sarcastic though, so I don't know.
It's not, apparently. I mean, according to Fede Alvarez, so he said that Ridley Scott has seen his movie and sent him a message saying that it was fucking great and he loves the direction that he took it in and so on and so forth. And so I guess this gave a boost to Fede Alvarez and maybe the release of this movie, which is going to be coming out very soon.
Really?
So, yeah.
There's no trailer.
No, but it's finished. It's edited. People are watching it. It's ready for release.
Really? Wow. Okay. Do we have any kind of idea of the release?
No, there is no release date set as of yet.
Wasn't there a TV show that's completely separate also coming out at some point?
There is a TV show that is completely separate that is coming out on Hulu.
We've talked about this several times over the years with Shooting the Flames.
Yeah, so we've been talking about all these sequels that are happening, and the time has come. The time has come for the great alien
Fiasco?
rebirthing, the Renaissance.
Well, maybe sometime in 2024. Maybe for both. Who knows?
Maybe.
We'll
I'm kind of interested. I would watch it anyway, but I'm kind of curious to see. And I wonder how much Ridley Scott was drinking when he watched it or something. Who knows?
I don't know. I don't really trust his judgment anymore.
No. Universal Horror Unleashed is coming to Las Vegas very soon. So it's like Halloween Horror Nights, but it's year round in Las Vegas.
I already want to go to that big ball.
Whose big ball?
The big ball. The big sphere.
Oh, the Sphere.
Yes.
In Las Vegas. So
Yes.
I saw the Sphere when I was in Las Vegas recently watching Adele. And it's pretty cool. Like we were driving on the bus going back to our hotel down the strip. And the Sphere was lit up and it had like a revolving globe on it. Like it just looked really fucking cool. And I would love to see something inside of it. But I've never been to Halloween Horror Nights. I've always wanted to. And so to have a year-round location that has like universal quality, like haunted attraction, haunted house stuff that's going to be like alternating throughout the year on different properties and things like that. Like this is something that I would go visit like every time I go to Las Vegas. So I'm super excited for this.
Me too. I might actually go to Vegas.
Oh my God.
I've driven through it.
We need to go.
But
Come
I
to
definitely
Vegas
want to go to
with
the
me.
Sphere, and I would definitely want to go see Halloween Horror. I'm just not a big gambler.
Well, that's fine. You don't have to gamble that much. You can watch me do it.
Oh, okay.
Plus, there's like things to eat and drink. Why not?
Sure.
Right.
Like Fuddruckers.
That was a different casino.
Oh, I just figured it was a thing. Like maybe there was a Fuddruckers in every casino.
In every casino, there's a Fuddruckers. Did they even have
There's
the
weird Art
cheese?
Deco and Greek architecture, and then there's the Fuddruckers. I don't know.
That's right. Where's the Fuddruckers though? I see the Greek architecture. What else we got?
Mike Flanagan's Stephen King's Life of Chuck is apparently a thing.
So many apostrophes.
And is now announced to star Tom Hiddleston, of course, Loki, Mark Hamill, Chiwetel Ejiofor, who was in, I want to say, the movie versions of Firefly, Serenity,
Yep.
as well as 12 Years a Slave
Uh-huh.
and other things. Doctor Strange, Mia Sara, randomly.
Oh my God, I'm
which I
so
cannot
excited for
wait.
this one.
Matthew Lillard from Scream. Yeah, Mia Sara was in Legend, right?
Yes.
And then David Dastmalchian, which has been in shit tons of shit, including one from the festival that we saw about the late night host.
Oh yeah, he was in that movie.
Yeah, and he was in Dark Knight. And Karen Gillan, of course, who was in Oculus, and of course also plays whatever the fuck Nebula in Guardians of the Galaxy. And Kate Siegel, of course, his wife, Flanagan's wife. Rahul Kohli, and of course these are the people in his troupe. Jacob Tremblay, coming back from Dr. Sleep. And Heather Langenkamp, now joining the troupe more officially since Midnight Club. So Heather Langenkamp and Mia Sara and Mark Hamill.
I mean, come on. This entire cast, though, this is a stacked cast.
Now, do you have any idea, is a cast that large for Life of Chuck, whatever that is?
Yeah, so I mean, Life of Chuck was a really, really good novella from a collection called If It Bleeds or When It Bleeds, one of the two. But it was really, really good and surprisingly touching. And it's sort of told over like 3 different sections of a man's life, right? But from the end to the beginning. And it goes from like moments of like horror and sort of like suspense and mystery to some like really touching moments. So yeah, I mean, I can see where this cast would fit into different places and be this stacked, but I don't know. I'm really curious as to how he's going to make this movie. And is it going to be on a streaming service? Is it going to be like a theatrical release or something like that? Could even be multiple parts, but yeah, there's a place for all these people in this. So
I'm wondering if like Kieran Gillen, and Kate Siegel are playing like the younger versions of Mia Sara and Heather Langenkamp in some of those earlier versions or something.
It's possible.
If the same characters show up in each time period, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a really good novella. Like I think I have like an audio version of it if you wanted to listen to it. Like it's really good and went to places. Like it starts in such a way that I was intrigued, and then as it went on, it just became something completely different. In fact, like the last moments of that book, or even like the last moments of some of these like different sections of that book or short book, like brought me to fucking tears. Like it was so good.
I can't wait to see Matthew Lillard either, too. Like everyone. And of course, Tom Hiddleston is playing the, eponymous character, Chuck.
The titular character?
Not eponymous, titular. Yes. Mm-hmm. What does eponymous mean?
I think it's right too.
Yeah. So if they're both titular.
Yeah. They're both titular.
Okay. One's just more masculine than the other.
Gender roles. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this very, very much. I didn't even know they were making a movie, and now that I know that Mike Flanagan is doing it, I am very, very excited, because the only film that we've gotten from that collection of stories at this point is Mr. Harrigan's Phone, and that was kind of a letdown as a film. So, but I will be following all the news for this for sure.
Coming soon.
So we have a handful of trailers to talk to you about. A lot of these come out in December, and then one beyond. The first one we're going to talk about is a movie called Eileen, which will be in theaters in December.
And contrary to popular belief, this is not about a one-legged woman, but is about, what's her name? What's the actress's name?
Thomasin McKenzie?
No, Eileen. Oh, Thomasin McKenzie. That's right. She's in this. God damn it.
She plays Eileen.
Yes, she plays Eileen. Come on, Eileen. What is the name?
Anne Hathaway?
Anne Hathaway. Thank you.
I like how we can successfully record an entire Shoot in the Flames, like with the most straight faces. And by the time we get to trailers, we're just like laughing at everything.
Come on, Eileen.
So this movie does in fact have Anne Hathaway and Thomasin McKenzie, and it looks very noirish, very lesbian-y.
Is Macintosh Muggle Bones in this as well?
No, she's in the one coming up. I don't know. It just looks really good. Like, I'm super excited to watch this. It has everything that I love in it. Like, just sexual mystery, noir, lesbian, Hitchcock stuff. That's me in a nutshell.
Yeah.
If you want to describe this.
It is listed as a psychological thriller, so I don't think it's going to disappoint.
No, and it seems like Anne Hathaway is doing her very best Sharon Stone.
And it's a period piece, right, or no?
Yeah, it takes place in like the 50s, I think.
Right. And so she's the new prison psychologist.
Mm-hmm.
And this little lady
works at the prison doing something. And they form this weird bond, and it seems like Anne Hathaway's character is playing some games with her, a la Basic Instinct. And it also seems a little bit like Sharon Stone's character from Diabolique, you know?
Yeah,
like,
a little lesbianist.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I'm kind of here for it, though. Mostly because I love Anne Hathaway. Mm-hmm. And I would watch whatever she did. So, but come on, Eileen. Be released.
Next, we've got Silent Night, which is a John Woo movie. And I haven't heard of a John Woo movie in a long time. I feel like he was theoretically the king of action, right? Action directors back in the 90s, maybe?
Yeah. I mean, so Face Off and so on.
Oh, okay. Well, this is going to be in theaters in December, and it looks like a straightforward action. So, this is starring not Jacob Tremblay.
Joel
Kinnaman, who was in RoboCop remake, as well as in a bunch of different stuff. In fact, he's on an Apple TV show called For All Mankind. That's amazing. So if you haven't checked that out, check it. But, Silent Night, I guess, is a revenge film during Christmas.
Yeah, it's a Christmas-themed action movie. It looks very stylized, a la John Wick, right?
Yeah, it does.
The trailer has no dialogue in it.
Nope.
So I guess
except for, I'm gonna kill you, motherfuckers, or something.
Well, he just writes that.
Oh.
Do you think this movie's silent? Do you think no one speaks in it? Is that what it's called, Silent Night?
I really hope so.
I mean, that might be the gimmick that saves it from mediocrity.
I would love that.
Really?
I would love that. I would love the shit out of that.
Okay. All right. So maybe I want to see this movie more than I thought. I like John Woo movies. You know, at least I did when I was a teenager.
Did you say John Woo Woo?
No, I said like John Woo movies.
Okay.
I wouldn't do John Woo Woo. I would never say.
I like John Woo Woo.
I do like John Woo Woo though. So I don't know. I mean, I'll watch it, but it looks really violent.
It
so
does.
I'll
which is
also
great.
watch it for that.
Yes.
Yeah. 100%. Next up is a trailer for a movie called Lord of Misrule. This is on demand and in theaters in December, and it looks really folk horror-ish.
It does, and it even has the one of the main guys from A24's The Witch.
Mm-hmm. Ralph Ineson.
Yeah. This looks very, very folk horror with a capital F.
That's right.
And I am here for it.
So it seems in this movie, a vicar has lost her daughter or has been kidnapped or has gone missing. And the strange town folk are helping her try to like locate her daughter.
But they're also like in on it.
Yeah, it seems very nefarious.
It seems like a big kind of like weird role play kind of thing. Wicker Man-y kind of situation.
It's very Wicker Man, like maybe like pseudo-sexual kind of folk stuff going on. It also stars a woman whose name is Tuppence. So
Tuppence McGee or something.
Tuppence McGee. Tuppence Mugglebones. Whatever. I don't know. Either way, I dig some folk horror, so I will probably certainly be watching this. I also like Ralph Ineson.
Next up, we've got Lisa Frankenstein. And this is a movie that is directed by a woman director. I forget what her name is, but this is written by Diablo Cody, who, of course, is famous for doing Juno as well as that one movie that we did a deep dive on.
Jennifer's Body.
Jennifer's Body, that's right.
Which was also directed by a female.
But this isn't out until February of 2024, but it is kind of a, maybe a future deep dive for us in February, actually.
Yeah.
Because this is a little bit more like she's building her own little lover boy.
She's building a Frankenstein who she brings to life in a tanning bed.
That's right.
And
she's kind of giving me like Wednesday Addams vibes a little bit.
Yeah, she's super gothy.
Not in the stoic sense, but,
in a dark sense.
In a dark sense.
Yeah. Like writing on black paper with black ink.
Yeah.
Right. And also, I mean, this movie is taking place in seemingly the sweet spot of like either the late 80s or like very early 90s.
Well, yeah, and that's the whole point.
When Lisa Frank was a thing, right?
And of course, for you guys that don't know, that was like all of like the binders and folders and everything that you would buy for school. And it was all like neons and hot pinks and, all of that shit back then.
I was so mad when I was in school that I couldn't have Lisa Frank stuff because of gender norms. Like today, if I were a little gay boy back then.
Well, they had the boy versions of it, right? Like, I think it was like a sub brand or something.
Really?
Like No Fear and shit like that.
Oh, that's way too masculine for me. I wanted Lisa Frank stuff. I just wanted dolphin stickers to put on my fucking Trapper Keeper. God. I don't know. This movie looks delightful, right? So I'm really digging the holiday horror of it. And I'm trying to pretend that Diablo Cody's not involved.
Oh.
So that's okay. I recently saw an Alanis Morissette musical that was written by Diablo Cody, and it was just abhorrent.
And now she is the writer who shall not be named.
And now, if I ever see Diablo Cody in person, I will.
What was I calling her back in that episode? I kept forgetting her name, so I called her something else.
It was not Diablo Cody, I know. Whatever it was well deserved. She ruined Alanis Morissette.
Diabolique Saltshaker or something. Knowing my brain.
Saltshaker. I'm going to put you in charge of making people's drag names.
Coyote Voice. Called her like...
Yes.
Called her like Coyote Ugly or something.
Oh my God. Anyway, the point is, go see Lisa Frankenstein. Don't go see Jagged Little Pill the musical.
Well,
ever. I think that just about wraps up our Shooting the Flames for November. As always, we want to know what you think about this episode and all of our episodes. You can find us to leave comments on social media at The Film Flamers on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Threads.
Okay. And you can email us at tiredqueens@filmflamers.com or call our hotline at 972
666
7733. My Diabolique Saltshaker needs some
Tuppence a ball. I don't know. It was going for some weird like Mary Poppins thing. Feed the birds. Tuppence a ball. Wrong.
I don't know what that means.
I don't. It's Mary Poppins.
I know, but what's the second part? A ball?
It's tuppence a bag, so I said tuppence a ball. I don't know. I went way too like obscurely gay with this. Like, I don't know. We have a lot of content coming out for you in November, and we are back to one of our favorite topics from last year, and that was gateway horror. So we are talking about
Wizard of Oz.
And then we're taking a return to Oz and just doing the damn thing.
Mm-hmm. And then you'll find the outputs of all your hard work in whatever we cover over on Patreon, which will be another Gateway Horror poll.
That's right. So head over to patreon.com/thefilmflamers. You will find that poll. Vote in it. If you voted in the poll last year and your movie wasn't chosen, fret not. It will probably be on this poll again.
That's right.
So go do that. Join the Patreon family. Get all of our bonus episodes and hear your name on Shooting the Flames.
Well, Robert.
Yes, Chris.
The tigers come at night.
Mostly.
And I'm ready to have some sweet dreams. Come on, Eileen.
Ew, the implications of that in a sexual way are bad.